A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Survival of No Limits. And now, I might as well just point out that with all the stuff that I have here to talk about, and at the same time that there are also so many other things to work on the channel, I really ought to point out that I just can't stop brainstorming here at this point. I almost feel like that I could pretty much just breeze through the entirety of the series, no problem. As easy as it is, but the thing is, lots of stuff could happen out here. But right now, it's time that I might as well get going on with some more material here for the series, while it's still in its first season. So let's go on ahead and get to number 17 of the series, which is all about video gaming. Yeah, that's right. Now, what does survival have to do with video games? Or maybe the other way around. What do video games have to do with survival itself? Well, the truth is, it's more of a psychological aspect than it is physiological. Because as a whole, playing video games certainly has itself quite a big place in society as a whole. Civilization has pretty much joined together to do a lot of things out there that most of us may not necessarily be proud of. Some people may have invented stuff by mistake, some people may have done something that they shouldn't, but either way, many of these events that happen in some people's pasts have actually resulted in some of the best things to ever have. A janitor at one point accidentally created Flaming Hot Cheetos. Someone ended up creating Reese's Peanut Butter Cups by mistake, pretty much. And then, of course, we can't forget how, well, Seamus Blackley came along and ended up creating a console called the Microsoft Xbox. Well, that's pretty much just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to video gaming, but Seamus Blackley sure has done a whole lot for society other than just the invention of the Xbox. And then, of course, doing a lot of other stuff here and there. Because as a whole, video gaming has certainly been quite a big topic in today's generation. The modern day gaming experience has certainly been quite a flare when it comes to enjoyment and possibilities. Because we are now in the 9th generation of video game consoles, which includes consoles such as the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlet, but more profoundly known as the Series X. Those are just two consoles out of what we could possibly expect to have several appear in this new generation. Because after all, it's only just begun. We are in fact in the first couple of months of this particular generation of gaming. Season 8 pretty much came to an end. The 8th generation of consoles involved consoles like the PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox One, and then of course there came a few others here and there, like the Google Stadia, and then some others that were kind of more on the experimental side. But as a matter of fact, let me also point out that Kentucky Fried Chicken actually went ahead and made their own game console. Yeah. A game console that doubles as an air fryer that is made to warm KFC chicken? Who would have thought that that would have been an idea made for a generation like this? That probably would have been made for someone from 95 years ago. Of course, the air fryer has been a huge savior to most people out there who are wanting to be on a good diet. Even people like myself, people who are certainly trying to get as fit as possible and also keep off as much extra weight as possible, are certainly looking forward to having air fryers do a lot of the work for us that traditional fryers that use lots of oil and grease ended up doing. Air fryers pretty much do all the work for us, so they don't have to anymore. But going back to video game consoles, it's crazy that KFC has made their own game console. Before you know it, we might expect other people out there to have their own game consoles. Maybe GameStop might have their own console on the marketplace. Maybe we might expect JCPenney to join on the bandwagon, or maybe a department store of any other sorts. Perhaps hardware stores like Home Depot, or maybe other restaurants like Wendy's, Popeyes, or Burger King. Who even knows what the ninth generation of consoles are going to be like? But let me just say, when it comes to gaming as a whole, regardless of whatever console it is that you have, or regardless of what generation of game consoles that you're currently in the marketplace for, gaming certainly has its share of pros and cons all over the place. There are tons of pros that you can look forward to, such as the usage of various technology like CDs, wireless controllers, little to no wires when it comes to connectivity to power outlets and televisions. And then of course you have the console's technology themselves, including mass storage drives on the interior, combined with cooling systems, libraries for games, add-on data including personalization tools like wallpaper and icons that you can use, and not to mention the usage of online play. You can always live with a Microsoft or PlayStation Network account, and you can get so much more than what you could get without being able to play online. Of course, there are tens of millions of people throughout the world that have in fact been registered as a gamer, regardless of if it's a console or a PC that they're using, or if it's something else in particular, like mobile phones or tablets, or anything else of the sorts. Anything that can connect to the internet and download apps, or basically play games as a whole, would count as a console in any ways. Our smartphones and tablets today can be chock full of different ports, different video games out there, like Mortal Kombat, Minecraft, Doom, Need for Speed, and so on and so forth. In terms of gaming though, when it comes to cons, however, it's a whole nother story. There's been the stories of people out there who have become addicted to gaming. Lots of them have in fact lost their health, or even their lives as a whole. Even 1000 Ways to Die, probably one of my favorite TV shows of all time, actually has their own inclusion of this particular matter, where someone is a hardcore gamer and ends up playing hours upon hours constantly on online tournaments, trying to do very, very swiftly and, well, skillfully. But it eventually goes to the point where the player ends up suffering from a heart attack after getting a lot of clots in the vessels. And this was due to sitting down for so long that blood flow had gotten very slow and pretty much coagulated. That's one of the main dangers that you might have if you're a very highly experienced gamer out there who ends up going as hardcore as possible to try and beat some high score, or to try and go for some marathon to see how long you can play through certain games. I of course have my own specific share of how long a week I tend to play, and doing the math, depending on how many games I've got to play, and depending on how much time there is for each of them, and depending on how long it would take for me to beat them, I've pretty much done a few calculations. It does seem that I tend to spend way too much time video gaming. But I am in fact simply playing on PlayStation 4, recording gameplay footage for tons of different titles out there. And I've been doing it as part of my job here on Kaiju Force Neo for years now. I've had a lot of experience playing video games throughout my whole entire life. Some of the first consoles I've ever played included Sega Saturn, PlayStation 1, as well as a few others here and there. And then of course, as time went on, we got our hands on some other consoles, old and new, and then of course we were able to pick up some on bargain, or thrift store buyouts, or inventory liquidation, or otherwise that pretty much is relevant. But in terms of video games, they can in fact affect you mentally, physically, verbally, so on and so forth. So here's some good advice out there. Unless of course you're a very hard worker like me, it'd probably be best to stay away from video games as a whole. Because even though it may seem like that they're safe, you just never know. They can in fact destroy your life. And even though I am in fact getting close to a point where I can consider my job a complete total success, let me tell you, the hundreds upon hundreds of hours that I pretty much spent just playing video games, I don't really know what kind of time I could have done with all that. Or whatever I could have done with all that. I mean, not that I want to complain about it. Usually the experiences are worth it. Playing different video game titles for PlayStation 4, I've pretty much come across so many titles by this point that it almost seems ridiculous. But trust me, I got it under control. I've played a few Minecraft titles, Doom titles, Need for Speed titles, a Monster Jam game, and plenty of titles that came out in every single year that the PlayStation 4 has been around. And chances are, well, I'll probably be going to PlayStation 5 by the time I manage to get my hands on one. And maybe by then, I probably will continue my work with GWK beyond the PlayStation 4. Or otherwise. But anyways, video gaming certainly can be dangerous for you if you don't know what you're doing or if you're very addicted. So that's pretty much just the end of that as a whole. But let me just say that I do have a lot of other stuff here that I probably will be talking about very soon. So you can expect more stuff to appear here and there. But if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.